Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for All You Can Eat Chelsea. Do not worry, the background will remain black because as far as I'm concerned, we are in the trenches right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So just a special episode today. I'm going with a black background. It's how I'm feeling after a defeat to Tottenham and after what happened the weekend before, and not knowing where your next win's coming from. For me, a black background is necessary. I've got a little bit of a change in cast today because congratulations to our brother Miz, who also just had a newborn. Do you know what I'm saying? He just had a new child as well. So big week for Miz. Do you know what I'm saying? Big week for Miz. Goonie, you're muted. Goonie's muted.
Congratulations, Miz, on the new family. I already know what it's like to be a dad to two. So big up yourself, Miz.
100%. So big up to Miz on that. You know what I'm saying? That's massive. So he's out this week. And Drogba is traveling at the moment as well. So in steps, man knows football. And usually when we're recording, man knows football is man knows sleeping. Do you know what I'm saying? Because New York, that time difference is nuts. When I'm looking at them 11 a.m.s, Goonies on like a 4 a.m., 5 a.m. But today, now that everybody kind of is more timeline, you know, not Australia, not other side, it's a little bit easier today to do it at 5 p.m. For the UK audience. This is prime time for you lot. So this is not how it normally runs, but you got a treat today. Do you know what I'm saying with this 5 p.m. live? And yeah, like I said, we're keeping it black backgrounds. Younes, brother, how are you doing before we introduced the special guest? Do you know what I'm saying? How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm good. As I've said, I say this all the time now. Any stream I'm on, I'll even say this later. Personally, I'm great. When it comes to this football business, mate, like the background suggests, bruv, we're at a funeral. We're in hell. Oh, by the way, on Big Six yesterday, that was basically it, wasn't it? That's basically just shows exactly where all of us are. We're in hell. We're in hell. So yeah. Apart from that, I'm all right.
Brother, we really are in hell. We really are in hell, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to a point where, you know, we don't know where our next win's coming from, and we're playing awfully. No one's improving. No players are looking right. I mean, Goonie, bro, how are you doing, first of all, and how are you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I decided to have a bit of an escape. As you can see, palm trees and stuff. I'm in Miami currently, just getting away from the problems of Chelsea Football Club. It's stress, bro. It's a horrible time to be a Chelsea fan, probably the worst in history, bro. And I can't see where we're going to get a win. I can't see where this guy's going to get sacked. So I ain't got a clue, bro. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is what we're here to discuss today. Interim versus permanent manager, because there's different ways to tackle this situation. Obviously, may as well start with the facts of the matter, which is they're giving him Leeds and then Dortmund to figure this out. He had 3 games to change the fans' mind. And then, you know, that first game is an L and he's got 2 games to go reportedly. Now, in, you know, some terms they say it's a happy camp. In some reports, they say everybody's, you know, behind the manager. And then there's other reports where it says, actually, no, some of them don't believe in the training methods. Some of them don't believe in the manager's ability to turn this around, and et cetera, et cetera. And then other reports are also saying that his training methods are not coming across because there's 34 players in the squad and there's too many people to manage. And then that begs the question, why haven't they just split it into something more sizable in terms of 25-man squad and get rid of the players maybe that you're not going to use? So many questions. And also another question in the chat before we get started with the super chat is this petition that went out. I don't really believe in petitions. They don't ever work, but, you know, the petition is there anyway. 44,600 signatures on that Potter Out petition. Madness. People are asking me in the chat. Ames has asked me, why is Simeone on the thumbnail? Well, I decided to put loads of managers on the thumbnail and no Drogba today, but Bubba did tweet and did tell me as well. I waited for him to make it public because off camera he told me before it went on the tweet, but he would prefer Simeone to come in. And I've heard quite a few people talk about Diego Simeone as their preferred option. Drogba is one of those. We'll be asking Drogba on the next show why that is the case, but he is someone that would like Simeone. I know that Younes would like John Terry. A lot of people have, not John Terry. I know you would like Jose Mourinho.
I was about to say, like, no.
Hey, hold on. I already had enough heat on Twitter. Don't you dare.
There's a method to the madness. You know what? I mentioned JT and people got it completely wrong.
They linked John Terry with Jose Mourinho as a partner.
Yeah, whereas people genuinely just thought I said no, John Terry for the job. Like no, like no, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so a lot of people have said they want Jose Mourinho. I've seen a lot of these images circling around Twitter. They want Jose Mourinho with John Terry as the assistant manager. And that is their partnership in terms of taking over. Diego Simeone, like I said, people are saying Luis Enrique. Some people have said Poch. There's been some lesser known names as well that I'm going to have to do some more research on that have been actually linked. Thomas Frank was linked. Flick was linked. Zidane, which for me will not happen. There's no way he's been this careful and this, this careful really in selecting his next job, and then he decides that Chelsea mid-season, that's the one I'm going to take. After rejecting all these other clubs and countries, I'm going to go with that one. Goonie, which one for you, or have you not decided yet? I haven't decided yet. I need to do a video on it and really dig deep research. I'm not sure yet.
I'm in two minds. So it's interesting that you titled the video this, because I was saying the other day, like, obviously, I strongly believe that the board have an interest in Hansi Flick, but we already know that he's going to be doing the whole Germany thing for the Euros, a lifetime opportunity thing. He's not going to leave that. So I'm more of a fan of bringing in an interim for maybe 18 months, go back to them 18-month old school contracts, bring somebody in. So when it's time, or potentially when our number one target is available, we avoid, one, the whole compensation thing, two, the message has been clear from an 18-month contract that you are not the long-term manager, and it will just make the transition that little bit easier. So I'm of that. But if it's a case where they're not looking to do that, this is where I start to get concerned, because the names that I'm seeing us linked with in the press, I mean, look, Simeone, I've got to say, the brother's a winner. I'll give him that. However, the players that we've signed and the style of football that we're trying to play is not going to match with Diego Simeone. It's just not going to compute. If you're going to sign a manager, you've got to sign a manager who's going to go with the similar philosophies that's going to work for these players. So if you told me, like, for an example, I'm not saying this is the guy that I want at the club, but if you told me like a De Zerbi or an Amorim or something like that, not saying they would be my first choice, but at least I'd understand through philosophy and tactical football, the way that they play, that it will translate, at least for these players that we've signed, to understand.
You know what? De Zerbi is such a funny one, because imagine if we went back to Brighton again.
Yeah.
All right, your first one didn't work, lads. Can we get your new one?
Oh Jesus! It would actually be comical at that point. I think the whole footballing world.
Can we do like an exchange? You know, like when you go to the shop, like your returns has like run out, but your exchange is still available. So you you bring the receipt and you exchange. Like, can we do that?
I highly doubt we can, but you know what I mean. I'm sure if Todd Boehly loves a swap, doesn't he? He loves his trades. He's here learning very quickly that these things don't actually work in football as much as
he's waiting for the draft this summer.
The draft, the manager draft, and then Simeone just walks in. Do you know what I mean? Everybody just walks in. Mourinho, Poch, everybody just walks in. I've put up a poll for the people. There will be a call-in show on this stream. I'm going to put the link at the top of the chat. After we've kind of debriefed as a trio for, you know, the first 15-20 minutes, then I'm going to put the link at the top of the chat. And cameras on only, okay? Because I'm not playing around with everybody that wants to, you know, pull out their bits and pieces and shit on my channel. I've had it before on Twitch. It's not happening on YouTube. You have to have your camera on. That's how I'm going to narrow it down anyway. It's easier to just narrow it down to the people. I can see who I'm speaking to. I can actually feel like I know you. Introduce yourselves, proper conversation. Cameras on only. This ain't Carefree Lewis G who wants to take risks. Big up Lewis. Do you know what I'm saying? I ain't taking these risks. I'm on YouTube. I ain't taking these risks. Camera on only. Here is the poll. So what should Chelsea do next? Should they stick with Graham Potter? Should they hire a manager now? Or should they get an interim? I am very aware that the rivals are going to skew this if they're watching with the stick with Potter, because I know what they're like, but I'm putting up the poll regardless. That's the first poll. Get your votes in. Then we're going to move on to, I guess, options in terms of when you come in this call-in show with your cameras on, you got to kind of state your case. What should we do? What manager? Kind of give us your reasoning why, etc., etc. Because I'm very interested to see what you guys think now. You know, it's been a while since we did a call-in show. But going back to what's been going on recently, guys. I mean, Goonie, what do you make of the whole? I know what Younes makes of it because he's pissed. What do you make of the whole we're going to give him 2 more games? And what do you think that means? Because before we jumped on, I'll just give you the premise. Younes told me a really good kind of conspiracy theory that's been kind of spoken about by Tony, which is it's an interesting one to think about, is that if they keep him for 2 more games, Leeds and Dortmund, if he wins both those games, you keep him. If he doesn't win, it kind of becomes pointless to sack him because there's nothing left to play for anyway. So you actually may as well keep him. And as much as I would like him to leave, I would like us to also have a plan in place of who we're going to get. Is it the right person? Is it an interim that deals with the big squad? Or is it a manager that comes in and has potentially some similar problems and then they maybe fall by the wayside also? Or is more elite options going to become more available in the summer? Because we've seen Man United and Man City prep a Ten Hag appointment, prep a Pep appointment in terms of, we'll get you in the summer. And how do you feel about that potential, you can't win here because if he wins, he stays. If he doesn't win, then there's no point in sacking him anyway.
I mean, to it down to these next 2 games, I believe one of them is going to be Borussia Dortmund, being the second game, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah. So we're going to take that risk. If that goes wrong, we're out of everything. So why can't it be that he's lost to Southampton, he's just got beat by Tottenham? If it's the 3rd time lucky, he gets sacked. That's what I think. After this 3rd game, if we lose this, you sack him. Because at least we go into the Champions League. Whether we win or lose, we're going to go in with a lot more chance than what we have with this guy. And we're currently, right now, we're in the, bro, I didn't even know what to say. But this thing, that conspiracy theory there, you see where I would usually go along with that in terms of, if he does get knocked out, then we might as well keep him because our season's going nowhere. I'm genuinely concerned that we're in a relegation scrap. So that's why I keep him. I can't even risk it. And this is the thing.
I think we can't just keep losing games. I think it will dent the players' confidence too much as well. The new players, they come on that. I'm going to mention it in a video later, but exactly what you're talking about in terms of the new players that have come in, they all started well. Sterling, Cucurella, no matter how many games it was, everybody had a good start. Felix, Enzo, Mudryk off the bench, Madueke. And then everybody kind of just always seems to just start falling, dipping into like this low confidence. Nobody knows what's going on. It's like we kind of consume them and like we can contaminize them almost kind of thing.
Bro, he has to go because if you was to ask any Chelsea fan, we've got 9 points till we reach the promised land. Where are we going to get them 9 points from when you look at the games that we've got left? Can you show me one team that you expect us to beat?
That's why my breaking point was last weekend. Because when you lose to managerless Southampton at home, for me, that's the easiest fixture on the calendar statistically. So you can't convince me points are coming. Points will obviously have to come from somewhere, but I just don't know where. And I don't know where the win's coming from. When you win 2 out of 16, I can't be saying, yeah, we're going to win against Leeds. 100%. I can't say that about any game anymore. It's not me being dramatic. I genuinely cannot predict a win because I mean, every team you come up against in this Premier League, they work their arse off. New manager Leeds, new manager bounce, right? Alex Garcia. You never know. Yeah. Once you lose at home to Southampton, there is no team in this league that can't beat us. Well, we already lost to Leeds earlier this season. They could do the double over us. The Southampton have done double over us already. So I don't.
They beat us 3-0. Like. And that was during the time when we were meant to be at least half decent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we lost to Leeds and Southampton. I think drew with Tottenham, beat Leicester, beat West Ham. I can't remember. Beat someone else as well. I think he picked up 10 points, so 3 wins and a draw out of the 31 we have. 10 points was from him. I mean, Younes, bro. For anyone who doesn't know, how are you feeling right now? And why do you feel like this is even happening? Is it because the contract, we kind of feel like there is an exit clause, there is a termination clause. So yeah. What do you feel? Because maybe it's not money. So what do you feel like it is that is it stubbornness? Is it ego?
No, you know what? The last couple of days, I've started to shift back to what initially worried me when the whole takeover thing was starting to happen. And I had a fear about American owners. All right. I genuinely think there is a mindset about what works in the States with the way that sports is panned out over there and the way that it all works and functions will be the same over here, where you just give time and it will just piece itself together. It will be fine when some of the fundamentals are very, very different compared to the American sports, and the success he's seen at baseball level in the MLB with the Dodgers. I think maybe it's a case of where Todd's maybe basing things off of that, which, yes, is his only experience in sport, so he kind of has to, but it can't fly here. There has to be a level of urgency and I don't want to say reaction, but when it gets to a level like this, it's untenable. It cannot continue. Whereas I genuinely think in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, no, we can just roll with it. It will get better. It's like, that's not how it works over here. In the States, like, yeah, you can function. Why did I make the draft joke earlier on? Because that is how it is over there. That is the model. Plus, the money isn't really an issue over there. The money, massive amounts of investments. Go and look at the salaries just in all-American sport compared to the Premier League in and of itself. It's astronomical when you're looking at the NFL and the NBA and even the MLB. And then you look at the Premier League. We thought the Premier League was high. They're doing next level numbers over there. So there's no real urgency but success is the only thing that's left on the table when you're getting all the money in anyway. Whereas here, you miss out on Champions League, you're affected. Yeah. You're looking at FFP, you're affected. Like, success breeds a level of income that the club needs in order for it to sustain itself at the highest level. So you have to react. And now we're at a level where we've acknowledged, because we've been in this game, we're born and bred here. This is our bread and butter. We know, based on experience and what's happened before, that this is untenable. It can't go on. Yeah. It cannot go on. And for the fact that we have something to salvage in the Champions League, there needs, as Goonie said, we need to do it now. Not even the Leeds game. It has to be now in order to create some sort of a bounce for us to have a chance at our only hope of European football next season, which is to win the Champions League this season, like we've done it before. So I don't get why they've not read the situation. They've not read the room. They think it's all okay. It's not. It's not. If they genuinely are that naive or in denial, it's not okay. They need to take action now. Because once it's done, it's done. And then we've got nothing to fight for. And even next season, we could be screwed.
Do you guys think there's actually a realistic chance of us winning the Champions League with this squad? And I'm talking about with Aubameyang not in the Champions League squad. That was already confirmed, with this amount of players as well. Because I know we've done it before, but it's only happened twice in the last 2 decades. And I always say that for me, Champions League is not something to build your foundation around, because it's a knockout competition. You can be unlucky. You can have a Luis Garcia ghost goal. You could have a referee that fucks up at home to Barcelona. You could have a slip from a penalty shootout in Moscow. The Champions League, we've won it twice in 20 years. 2023, right? Since 2003. These are like the realistic years of us. We could win it. We could, all these years. Twice. So on average, that's once every 10 years. I'm taking that as we ain't winning that shit for another, do you know what I mean? Another 7-8 years minimum. But of course we would love to. But my point is that it's very unrealistic, in my opinion. I don't think the Champions League is a realistic goal, especially with a squad of 34 players. And especially with, arguably, a lot of people would say the best finisher in the team is exiled of that squad. Now, do we really feel like we can mount a challenge? And if so, is that appointment the same appointment you would make if you were going and thinking long-term with... Because I'm still assuming that everybody here wants a long-term successful situation where you stick by one person and you kind of have a Pep Klopp. Or are we saying that we need to go back to our old ways, which I would personally disagree with, but we need to go back to our old ways of just hire and fire, instant success, shut the fuck up. This is the mighty Chelsea. How do we feel? Yeah, I see Younes is smiling. Talk to me. Talk.
Like, you know what? Look, the truth of the situation is,
don't mess with the DNA. And I'm not gonna lie, I might need to get Sam on here soon. But he's like, yo, don't mess with the DNA. That's Chelsea's DNA.
No, but it's not necessarily about going for short term for the sake of short term. Like, I've come to the consensus that now, even if, say for example, Pep hadn't had the success at City, right? He's available and we get him. Who's to say he's here for the next 7 years? Like, his success at Man City each season is what keeps him going. Klopp, his success at Liverpool each season, or the progress each season that you could see it was getting better and better and better, is what kept him going at Liverpool. That's just the nature of the job, isn't it? So you can only get long term with short term, is how I'm seeing it. So whoever's in the job,
I understand you there. Yeah.
And I would even flip it. Like I've already said this. Say if we were to get a Jose back, right? And yeah, even the first couple of seasons, and it goes as it has before. Third season, it starts to get rocky. At that point, you have to be realistic. There's no sentiment. If it becomes untenable, it becomes untenable. That's the nature of the beast now. That is just how football is. So, I am focusing on reinstating what this team needs right now, which is that mentality, which is a bit of ruthlessness to get these players going, because it doesn't seem like they are. Now, managers have different styles in different ways. Ten Hag, for example, is someone I think all of us can go, yeah, no, we'd have him tomorrow if we could. He's not a defensive manager or anyone that's going to get anyone worried, but he has exactly what this Chelsea team needs right now.
That is like, if I could go back, and I've said it a couple of times already, and I got blasted on TikTok because the context doesn't exist there. It's only it's a little clip. But if I could go back and we absolutely had to sack Tuchel, right? Which I didn't really want us to do in the first place. I was like, can we give him a bit more time? But I'm not gonna go back and, there's nothing we can do. As much as Tuchel with a recruitment team is actually one of the best options out there, if not the best, because he's still an elite manager. And it's funny to see now everybody's clamoring back for the back three to have some sort of stability, when before it was we need to move to a back four to push an extra attacker up. Exactly. We're going to get more goals. Everyone was saying that he can't coach an attack. Now we can't score goals. He actually had a very good goal scoring season last year, despite the sanctions, despite Lukaku. And yes, it wasn't the most fluid, attractive football, but there was context that we all love to use now. Context, right? Because right now we have 1 goal in February, 6 goals since November the 6th, which is the worst in 4 divisions, the top 4 divisions in English football. And we're playing with an extra attacker. It's funny now that everybody's going back to the man that literally had all the context as well behind his name. 2-2 draw at Tottenham. I'm taking that scoreline. I'm coming to this Tottenham performance, and I'm seeing 2 parallel massive differences. And if you put a recruitment team around him and a Klopp who has dodgy recruitment style as well, and these guys don't want that heavy responsibility, and it is unfortunate timing because of the ownership and what happened. But if you could tell me now that you build a recruitment team around him, you're not actually getting much better than that when you look at all of the other options on there. But there's no point discussing it because he's not coming back, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So we move. We have to accept that that's an L. Bowie has to accept that that's an L. This is a big L if he sacks this manager. It's a massive L. But now Christopher Vavell is in charge of the recruitment process, I believe, isn't it? And that's where this becomes interesting. Who does he go for?
No, completely. And to go to the point that we originally discussed, where about our DNA, right? Our DNA doesn't mean just go back to, what worked before, which was at times when we were winning the league and all that, having to play a defensive style of football and do things that way. But it just means the standards, the intensity, the urgency to win, like those things cannot be let go at any costs ever. Sometimes if you do have to go in and, shit house it a little bit, that's what we've done, and that's what it worked. It worked for us, and that's just how we functioned in those years of success. That is how we did it. That's our way. No one else looks and goes, "Oh, we got to be like Chelsea," except for the ones that are coming up. Maybe some of them do, but everyone's got their own way. Well, Watford. Everyone's got their own way. But we're comparing ourselves to Arteta and Arsenal, and we're looking, but we've got to try and do it like Klopp, and we're talking about documentaries, and we're doing like, no, go back to what's ours. How do we function? What do we do? What's worked for us? Stick to that DNA. And then style of football and all of that comes afterwards. That's down to the manager in and of itself. But that mentality and that base should never be tampered with. And it has been. It has been completely.
I mean, Goonie, what do you make of this whole like long-term versus short-term kind of gains, cons, pros? Because it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because everybody kind of makes the assumption with a long-term project that you have to start off like Arteta did, and that's the kind of name that's been floating around. A silly comparison, in my opinion, because the two squads are not comparable at the starting point. The money spent is not comparable, etc., etc. The squad size is not comparable. All of these things are not comparable. What competitions is each person starting in? Europa League versus Champions League. Nothing is comparable, and the narrative is that you got to suffer. You know, we must suffer 8th back to back before you ever see any return on your investment. And then you see someone like Ten Hag coming in, and immediately he's talking about, we will beat Barcelona together. We will win more trophies. Everybody get the fuck on that, on your training ground. The next day, after a cup win, we're going back to train. We've got FA Cup midweek. We're going to win another trophy. That mentality, that talk, and that in-game management that he's showing, and the pragmatic approach as well, not just sticking to one style. It's two polar opposites, really, when you think about it, because both of them are in a project, but both of them have gone completely opposite routes in terms of how long it's taken them to get to where they are in the Premier League table. And where do you sit in terms of, I guess, in the middle? What are your expectations of a manager coming in now, mid-season, versus one coming in the summer and getting an interim? Which decision would you go with?
It's going back to something Younes said that I was very interested. You got to do the short term before you can even reach long term. So I think a perfect example in a utopian situation would be to find a manager like Ten Hag, who can come in and address things short term, and you can trust him to do things on the long term as well, if you give him funds to buy what he needs to buy. And he's shown that from a short-term perspective in terms of not only just getting the results, but identifying immediately what was needed in the squad for that to turn around. Casemiro walks in there, was a game changer for Manchester United, gave them that balance that they needed, and as a result, they were able to build on that. They were able to use different in-game tactics because of that number 6. So that's something that he was able to spot early. Now, going forward, if you ask Manchester United fans, do you believe this guy can bring you a title maybe next season, the season afterwards, whatever? 9 out of 10 of them will tell you yes, most definitely he can do that. But again, the reason why I said it's utopian is because, 1, it doesn't always work like that. 2, we don't know which manager available is going to come and do that in the Premier League. The Premier League is very much a funny one. Also, as well, whatever manager's coming into this team is going to be coming into the same problems that Graham Potter is facing right now. Mm-hmm. It's still up to them to get to drag them out of the mud and do what needs to be done. But people need to understand, any manager that comes in the current situation that we're in is dealing with a very, very difficult job. Yeah. Very difficult job, because, you know, a lot of us thought, yeah, we're losing with Potter, but it's going to be salvageable. We'll come back. We can't last this long. Do you know what I mean? But it has. This losing and non-winning streak has gone on for long enough that it might be a case where some of these guys are forgetting how to win. Some of these have been on for so long that the out of form turns into regression.
Fact.
So we need
normality.
So we need someone who's gonna come in and elevate standards, which is why for me I have to have a proven winner. Someone who's going to walk in and elevate standards, so the players know, yeah, if we fuck around, we're out of the door. Or if this happens, we're sitting down on the bench, because he's not here to cater to every single one of us. He's here to fill up his CV, and we have to win them trophies to fill up his CV. So it's in our best interest that we perform. That's what I want. That's why I want that. I don't want to take any more risk with certain managers. I need someone who's won something and has that aura of respect about them.
And I think that's why, for me as well, interim I'd lean towards more than a permanent person, because I feel like the problems won't just go away, and I feel like that's why, Potter, he you know, as much as I want him gone, there are issues to deal with, but I just don't feel like he's dealing with them. I don't feel like I don't feel like he's in a you must mentality where it's like, we must get this sorted. We must pick up these wins. We must, like, it feels like it's just going on, and it's just, you know, there's team selections. You're playing short-term players like Ziyech and maybe Koulibaly over Badiashiles and Madueke's, but then you're not using Aubameyang. So then are we going for instant results, or are we going for long-term pain, you know, short-term pain, long-term gain? Which one is it? You know, the in-game management. As much as the problems are there, management means manage, and I feel like somebody else right now would be managing this situation better. It's not to say that we would be winning every game. It's not to say that we don't have issues. It's not to say that we would not be struggling, but we would not be losing all these games, and we would not be winning 2 out of 16. So that's where it comes into it. But how much Younes does Todd Boehly have to blame? Because we spoke about Potter a lot. But at the end of the day, Todd Boehly is the one that hired him. He's the one that gave him the massive contract and maybe caused too much stability in terms of, I remember when Tuchel came in 18 months, he knew what it was immediately. You go in. Now, obviously, Potter's not that type of manager. So when you go with Potter, you do have to expect and understand it's going to take long because this guy's not an instant winner. But that was your decision to go down that route. And then it was your decision to also go balls to the walls in the transfer window and go 9 new players, no sales really, and have a big bolstered squad. So how much responsibility does he have to take for maybe sacking Tuchel early, not getting the director of football in first so Christopher Vell could pick the manager, all of these things?
No, 100%. The way it all started off, especially with Thomas Tuchel, we know that there wasn't any real footballing decision behind the fact to sack him. We know that whatever happened between them was a madness, and things deteriorated pretty quickly on a personal level. So we still need to try and find out what actually happened there and what the truth was. He sacks Tuchel, massive mistake, huge mistake. Although personal beef between them, can understand why Todd Boehly would want to come to that decision thinking we can't work together. We just can't, right? Fair. But personally, terrible decision. And that's probably why we are where we are now. His analysis post that is what's got us into this situation. And it's all wrong. You know, it was, at least in my eyes, the doubts were there from the get-go about someone like Graham Potter. You know, at Chelsea Football Club, you need to be looking at someone elite. And not by elite, we've discussed this before. I don't mean someone that's going to go and win you the treble every single season or someone that does win the treble wherever they are. That's unrealistic. But someone with a bit of pedigree and someone that has some sort of level of success to know exactly how to keep the team at a winning level, right? Or at a competitive level at the top, right? Competing in that bracket. So that wasn't what we did. So absolutely Todd Boehly's got blame, or the owners, the consortium. We have to remember this isn't one man. This isn't just Roman like it was with Roman. This isn't just Todd Boehly on his own. This is Todd Boehly and Egbali and the rest of the shareholders at the table, Clear Lake Capital and whatnot with the majority share. Like there's a whole board of people that are responsible for running Chelsea Football Club. They absolutely need to be looked at. And I can understand things are looked at in hindsight. But now, with the situation we're in right now, and we look to Graham Potter for all his flaws and everything that's gone wrong, and the fact that he can't manage this squad and can't manage this team and can't get us out of the situation, just like the guy that decided to pull out a flipping rifle on Lewis's stream out the window, right? Yeah. Firing at Graham Potter. Now I'm turning to Todd Boehly and everyone else. I'm not looking at Potter anymore. We've figured him out, right? We figured Potter and what his abilities are and what his non-abilities are. We're looking to the owners now. You have to do something. If not, this is on you. You're allowing this to go on. So to rectify the situation, they need to admit that they were wrong. They need to admit that this was a mistake. By doing that, the only way to do that is to get rid of Graham Potter and to look elsewhere. Roman done it numerous times. He wasn't scared about his image. He wasn't scared about looking stupid. He'd make an appointment, hasn't worked. 6 months down the line, sorry, mate, you're gone. And all of us would go, yeah, great decision, you know, because it was evident. It had to be done. Sometimes it has to be done. Even for the sake of business, it has to be done. For the sake of this football club right now and where we are, which is where we've never been, except for the 80s when we got relegated. We actually got relegated in 88. We need to take action now in order to rectify the situation. So I'm looking at the owners. I'm looking at Todd Boehly and them lot.
Yeah, I sympathize a lot with them, Goonie, in terms of what's happened up until this point, purely because when you're flipping an ownership at the end of a season, just before a summer window, with no networking, with no contacts, and your plan is to rip up the entire foundations of the football club in terms of Marina, in terms of the medical staff, in terms of the scouting, Scott McTominay, the scout. When you make that decision to rip up everything, you leave yourself open to exposure, because now you don't really know the environment you're walking into. You haven't got any experience to lean to, and you're just kind of like as the people outside of Chelsea called it, rivals scattergun. But I sympathize with that because a lot of us were very annoyed with, many of us were annoyed with Marina, annoyed with Scott the Scout, annoyed with, so they just cleared everyone. But then, that means that it's going to be a tough start. And then we go to the manager situation and their opinions on that, which is fine. They work with them every day. They know who they can work with, who they can't. And they make their decisions along the way through January. And I think the recruitment in January was a lot better. But there was no sales. So now we're left with a bloated squad. When you go through all of that and how sympathetic are you up until this point, and how sympathetic will you be after this point regarding how long it takes them to make decisions on management, who they hire? Like, is the pressure increasing now? It's like, okay, cool, but now what are you going to do next?
Okay, so if we're speaking strictly on board matters, I strongly believe that Todd Boehly coming in and, quite like you said, just gutting out the entire staff room and then making such big decisions, taking it upon himself to make such big decisions to hire a manager, has come back to bite him. So what he was supposed to do, and what is common sense to everybody, is before making any kind of decision like that, you hire somebody who makes those decisions, i.e. Christopher Vival and Paul Winstanley. Granted, we got them several months down the line, but that's several months down the line too late, because I'm sure if you sat down in a room with two of them, they probably, well, maybe not Winstanley, but if you sat down in a room with Vival, he might have told you not to go for Graham Potter, and there's other options that you could have gone for. So, and this is why I say that to say this. If Todd Boehly was to come out and sack this guy, the circumstances would be understood at the fact that it was his decision and his inexperience and never having any experience in football that got him to make that decision, and it's backfired on him. It's the sort of a thing where if he said, my bad, Chelsea fans, I'm sorry, I done what I've best for the club. The manager was doing great over there at Brighton. I thought that if he was to give him a little more investment, he would do better at the club. Clearly, it's not worked. I'm going to leave the decisions from now on to Christopher Vival and Paul Winstanley. And whoever they think is suitable, they'll bring to the club. So I think that's where it's at. And I think Todd needs to show that for two reasons. One, he needs to show it to, one, gain the trust of the fans. And two, he needs to show that, to really show that he is not fully in charge, and that the people that should be making decisions actually are making the decisions.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think when you've now put those people in place and you've surrounded yourself with better minds, sporting minds that understand what they're doing, you've got to give them that responsibility and not lead like a dictator. 100%. Lots of different comments in the chat, lots of different opinions. I'm going to lock off that last poll. It's over 1,000 votes now. It ended with what should Chelsea do next? And it was stick with Potter, which was 37%, which I think has been a couple rivals in there, but I'll take it for what it is. Hire a new manager now, or get an interim. And the hire a new manager was at 27%, and get an interim was at 36%. So it's all very, very close, to be fair. It's all very split. And I think a lot of people maybe are at a point where they're not even sticking with Graham Potter because they highly rate him, or they're happy with him, or they're not worried. I think they're almost stick with him because the season's done anyway.
Yeah.
May as well not throw someone else into this mess and then, contaminize them as well. And maybe the elite options aren't available. So then who are the interim manager options anyway?
But you see, but under the circumstance like that, it's like, well, it's okay to say that if you can say hand on heart that we're going to get to 40 points anytime soon. I cannot say on hand on heart when we are going to touch 40 points. Can any one of you tell me the date where we're going to be at 40 points? Because I can't tell you.
We can put it into context. Yeah, I've mentioned this on the video I've uploaded. Is we are on a run of form where we've got 2 wins in 16. We need in the next 14 matches to win 3 matches. So 2 out of 16, we need 3 out of 14. And we've got to play everyone in the big 6. And 3 of those games, I think, are away.
Man City away, Arsenal away, United away.
There we are. And we've got to play Leeds and teams facing relegation.
Man simply cannot be at their home for any of these games. I'm sorry. He just can't.
I agree.
He shouldn't even be at their home for fucking Dortmund. He shouldn't have been at the home for who did we play after? Who did we just play? With Tottenham. Shouldn't have been there. Should have been sacked after Southampton. Should have been gone. Now, obviously, there's no one. Like, again, I get the point. Well, who is there to take over? But boy, even caretaker situation, I don't even know, bruv.
Yeah, we need time.
Anything feels better than this.
It's that bad. I mean, how many more games can we go on? It's going to be up to the board. I mean, like I said, our breaking point or your breaking point or the chat's breaking point or everybody's breaking point and the board's breaking point is two different breaking points, which is why after Tottenham, I said, I think their breaking point is relegation. I think they're like relegation battle. Like we have to be on the cusp of going down. Like we have to be 5 points, 6 points above the bottom three. And then they might be like, oh shit. Like we really, because in NBA and NFL, there's no relegation. People are telling me.
No relegation.
So they're gonna learn. You're gonna learn fast. I have put the link at the top of the chat for people to join. I've already got people joining. You have to have your camera on. If you do not have your camera on, I'm gonna have to kick you out because I have to make sure that, you know, I narrow it down and I want to see faces. I want to be introduced to the people that are watching the content and show the love. So for me, I got to be able to see what you're saying when you're saying it. And like I said, it stops any madmen coming in and doing a madness, you know what I'm saying, and moving crazy. Because I've had it happen, and Saeed has had it happen as well. And we all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying. I see you guys jumping in. So I'm going to bring one person on at a time so they can really exercise their point. It's not going to be some sort of royal rampage going on in here, do you know what I'm saying? I want you to each come in, introduce yourselves. I want you to just immediately, as soon as you come in, give your point. If you want to stick with Potter, say it from the top and then give us your reasoning why. If you want to bring in a new manager, let us know the new manager and the name and explain why. And if you want to go over an interim, let me know why and state your interim. Because really what the premises of this show is actually opening up the dialogue. Everybody doesn't know what's going on at Chelsea at the moment. And I want to know what you guys kind of want. In terms of the short term and the long term. Okay, now we're going to add in the first person, Sid. If you're trying to join and there's no space, then just kind of like when someone leaves, you know, there's a space opening up, you know, first come, first serve, do you know what I'm saying? And then we keep going and hopefully we get through as many people as possible. So Sid, welcome to the show, brother. Let me know, what do you want from Chelsea Football Club?
Hi guys. By the way, Matisse, I'm your biggest fan, I would say. And
Wow.
I've mentioned it on many streams and also on Instagram.
Thank you.
Liked it also. And hi, Guni, because I know Guni for a time.
Love that.
I'm on mute. My bad. What's going on, Sid, man? How you doing, my bro?
Humbling. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I'm fine, guys. I would like to say that I would give Enrique the job because sticking with Potter up to Leeds is also a problem because if they sack him after Leeds, so we got 2 days for the game against Dortmund, which means nothing because I don't expect us to win with any manager against Dortmund if we have only 2 days to prepare. So I think the right decision would have been Tottenham or even Southampton, but after Tottenham we should surely would have sacked him because it would have given time to Enrique or any manager they think, because if we hire an interim, it's going to stable the ship for some time, but the players we are going to attract in summer would not have seen a proper manager or something. So I think having Enrique there, we could attract good players and even we could have João Felix on permanent because he's a type of manager who play attacking football, good tiki-taka football, which most of the players would suit. Because we have Nkunku coming, Felix here, Mudryk, Madueke. These players can play football. These players do not suit Atletico Madrid style, which Diego Simeone, some people are saying.
Do you know what? Yeah, you've made some brilliant points, bro. You've made some brilliant points, and it's got me thinking now because you're right. You know, if we bring in an interim, unless you kind of announce who the official manager will be, like Pep was announced, like Ten Hag was kind of announced a little bit prior to the window opening, then they're not going to know who they're getting, and then you're not going to be able to start your transfer business, and you're not going to be able to start building for the summer. And of course, we need to sell a lot of players as well.
Yeah, it would be same mistake like we had owners late during last summer, and we kind of got players in a hurry because we had Rudiger, Christensen, Werner, Lukaku left. So we gone for players without planning. So it would be the same scenario. If we get the deal done with Enrique or any good manager late, then we wouldn't have clear vision or time to complete some deals early. because it won't be like this summer, like splash, 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 and we are going to get a player in 3 days. Because we need to be smart now, because we have spent already 600 million.
Yeah. Do you know what? You've made some great points. Younes, Goonie, anything to kind of respond to on that before we go to the next person? I want to go through as many of the guys coming in as possible. But you made some great points to bring to the show, bro. Thank you. Yeah.
I had to agree with one thing I didn't think about is if the interim manager does come in, what does it mean for the future signings? That's something that I definitely didn't think of.
Oh, Goonie's locked off.
Miami Wi-Fi kicking in.
I got a phone call. No, I was just saying I think it was a good point still.
Yeah. Younes, what do you make of it? Yeah, is that kind of along your thought train as well?
No, it makes complete sense. The interim role needs to be done if there is a blueprint as to what they're going to do or what they're going to approach in the summer. But that's not to say leave it to the summer. They need to have an idea of what they want to do in the summer now.
Yeah.
And if they have a plan now,
because
if they have an idea of who they want to go after and they start those discussions now, like how it was done, Roman did it. Like when we appoint someone in the summer, those discussions started in February, March.
Yeah.
You know, in the meantime, get an interim. Of course, take the team until the end of the season. We're having discussions with who we want to bring in June. So yeah, if that's the only way to get an interim, absolutely agree.
Yeah, no, that's a great. Before we let you go, great point. And also, I think that is a thing where you've got to do two things at once, right? If you're getting an interim, make sure you know who's coming in straight after him and kind of align it all together in one movement. Don't do one and then think that it's okay and then do the other later on. And
you should even start that now.
Yeah.
Even once Potter's in the job, you're going to get rid of him. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going for summer? Start discussions now.
If he's really got 2 games left, that's what you should be doing, isn't it? Getting that ready right now. Otherwise, you're going to leave yourself in a pickle. Bro, thank you so much for coming on.
Should work on that because it's not the case that Todd should again go for any another manager. If there is director of football, he should work on that. So who to bring next and what type of style we are going to play.
100%. Well, Sid, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate the support. Thank you for coming on. It's been brilliant. Great points made. And we will see you hopefully next time as well, because I'm sure we'll be doing this again at some point if Chelsea continue to stress us all out. Big up, bro. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
All right, that was quality, man. Really great point. Let's bring in the next bro. Goonies all over the shop.
Bro, my phone is not working, bro.
Bro, how are you? I think you're muted. State your name, cuz. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, this is crazy. Hi, guys.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. From Nigeria, calling from Nigeria.
Okay, big up. Love that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of you guys, man.
Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. It's good to speak to you now.
I'm Potter out. I don't like you. I don't like it. I was on Younes show and Miss show about 2 weeks ago. They were talking about I think it's time to go. I was like, these guys they're doing too much, something like that. I need to wait for this manager. Let's see what he can still do with the squad. But I think he doesn't have an idea of what he's doing. He's just on vibes now. He's just on vibes. Who
would you bring in as a replacement? Do you know who you would bring in as a replacement?
I'm in the same position as you are, Matisse.
I hear you. It's not easy, bro. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah.
But I want to ask you guys something. Are we still bringing in like Mike Edwards for the sporting director role?
I think that ship has sailed.
Because if we are bringing him in, we need to know who the sporting director will actually advise the club to get.
The thing is now with the sporting director, apparently, like you've got Christopher Vivel, who's technical director, and now we've got Paul Winstanley and who else? Lawrence Stewart. Stewart.
Yeah,
they're co-sporting directors now.
Yeah.
So I guess the position's been filled.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know where else there's room for another cook in the kitchen, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure they could find another name because there's so many different names that I've heard of. Co-sporting director. We never even had a sporting director in the first place. You know, we just had Marina. We had Marina. Now we've got co's and we've got main and we've got sides and desserts. We've got everything. So they could probably make up a new title for him 100%. But at this current moment, I think that will be the last thing on their mind. Most likely because they don't actually have assurance on managers. So they don't even know who they're going to even have in charge, let alone sporting director. So you're not sure. You're not sure on your manager position
Yeah,
yet.
but Enrique is a good shout, but
Enrique's
I
a good
don't know.
shout. You're
The
not sure,
Premier League is it.
bro.
It's
It's
either you
competitive.
survive or
It's
you're being
very,
killed, something like
yeah.
that.
It's very
Premier League is
competitive.
not easy. Yeah,
No, the standard of managing in this league is serious right now. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie.
I wish we got at least. I wish we got Eric Ten Hag.
Hey, listen,
Mad, innit?
it's a damn shame. Do you know what I'm saying? He would have suited us well, man. The way he talks like a Chelsea
Can
man. I'm starting to question if he isn't really.
maybe Todd can do something for us. Buy him out of his contract.
One more wonderful meal. Well, listen, bro. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, I
I'm
really
gonna make my
appreciate it.
mind up soon, and hopefully you do too as well with the content flying
Sure.
about. There's plenty of threads going on Twitter as well. Videos will be dropping from everybody. So hopefully if you haven't made a decision, you will definitely come to one soon, bro. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the
It's a
support, bro.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Pleasure, bro. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Goonie, what's going on over there, brother?
He looks like he's getting,
What's
is
this
he getting
guy-
kidnapped or something. Like, what's going on?
No,
I was looking for a charger. I couldn't find a working charger, fam.
All right, let's get Ahmed in here. Come on, my brother. We know you. Yeah. Come on. Talk to me, brother. No nice introduction for you. I've spoken to you too many times. Unfortunately, after you smacked me up on FIFA. Come on, talk to me. How you feeling? You're muted.
my bad. I was not muted, innit?
You good, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I hope everyone's doing well. But you know,
Yeah, man.
it's not looking good, bro. Innit? Let's just say how it is.
Sticky.
It's not
like,
looking good, bro.
I think for me, like the Southampton game, after that game, he should have been gone then anyway. That was my view at the time. He then should have gone an interim in for the time being, but you should have had like discussions already prepped or something like that with the guys that you already had in mind. But you know, I look at some of the options that they're rumored to be, you know, liking. Thomas Frank, for example. Don't get me wrong, Thomas Frank, he's doing a good job at Brentford, but it's almost like another pot situation essentially that you're bringing him into. So like, I don't get that. I don't get why they're looking at him. Then you've got obviously the Braga manager, the guy from Sporting Lisbon. Same issues. Again, you need to. I think for me, should be targeting a winner, in my opinion, someone that you know at least has that experience at the top, some experience at the top level, so that day one they set the standard. That you know what they want and what you have to do. I'm not as much concerned about the recruitment sort of side with the interim.
I think the long term future still looks bright. I think.
Yeah, and to be honest, if we're looking at the summer, it's much more. I think for me, selling rather than buying, if that makes sense. You're looking more to sell. So I think bringing an interim manager to get us to 40 points, you know what I mean? Get us to 40 points. Maybe salvage a little cheeky.
Do you have a name that you're sure on?
No, I was gonna say Hiddink for the memes, but no, I actually don't know. The thing is, like I'm not for an interim. It would be great to get. I don't want to say John Terry, for example, because like that's a PR nightmare waiting to happen. I don't know who else I don't know who could bring it as interim, but
Super Frank.
Listen, man. Stop for the love, bro. You don't want another one situation, yeah.
Super Frank.
Again. You know what?
Super Frank got us in top 4 under the tough circumstances as well for transfer ban. Maybe
it was better than this, yeah.
No, we can't be doing not Frank.
Super Frankie Lamb. Come on, you know you want to sing.
That's a too Frank. I genuinely don't know, but I think we do need definitely interim. Maybe bring in, you know, maybe if Drogba is available, just someone to galvanize these man for 9 points. Galvanization. There's someone that can, you know, get them up to speed in that, man. That's all we need.
Wow.
But that's
no
all
name,
need, man.
No name, no face, no case, bro. No one's got a name. It's tough. At least Younes has settled on Mourinho, which is still shocking me to this day. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe you're bringing this man back to me for the third time.
For the third time, man.
Jose Mourinho.
I can argue. Exactly. Third time's a charm. But I can argue that this one is less sentimental than the second appointment.
Yeah. Oh, you really think so? This one's less mental. I think
less sentimental than the second.
Oh, less sentimental. Sorry.
Less. The second appointment was pure sentimental, man. That was just pure vibes to get him back after a magical first time. That first time he was moving like a mafia boss. But this one I think has more logic.
All right, cool. No name from Ahmed, but I will push you on this name in the JC, brother, and the mod JC. I'm gonna ask for this.
All right, man. That's all, man. Listen, you're not gonna find out who my interim is. I have no idea for interim. maybe maybe if you are going to go for someone that's going to be for the summer, probably I would say if he's available, Flick, and you can push him to get him to sign him in the summer. I don't want to go for Enrique or Simeone. I think those guys, they're just a bit too stuck in their ways, I would argue, particularly Simeone and Enrique. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I've lived through Conte's, fossil football. Yeah, I mean, Mourinho. Like, if you're winning, if you're winning, I don't mind. You get me? But
you don't want another stubborn manager.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need some level of flexibility.
You see with Enrique as well that I don't like about him is when plan A goes out the window, there's no plan B. Yeah, that's what I don't like about him.
That's my concern.
Yeah, fair enough. He is very hell bent on the way he plays. Ahmed, brother, appreciate you. Miss you, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? Miss the FIFA slappings as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
What did I beat you 3 times relaxing, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You slapping me up. Yeah, 100%. I'm not gonna lie on camera. I'll see you soon, brother. I hope you dig deep for that interim, brother. I'll be asking you again.
Okay, I'll try.
Coaching badge is done quick. You can do it.
Yeah, we might have to hire you from if you're not careful.
I live locally in it. Don't you worry about that, man. I'll get myself to Stafford Bridge.
Right, big up, brother. Chat to you in a bit.
Have a nice one.
All right, cool. We're gonna go through some super chats quickly, and then I'm gonna bring in the next person. This one saying my favorite Chelsea content creators in the building. Big up yourselves. Big up, bro. Much appreciated. As much as I want us to lose to Leeds, if we lose, we will be fighting relegation with harder games on the line. At what point does it? Because I've seen this happen before. Big up for becoming a new member. People say that they actually want to lose games for the betterment of the club long term. I've never had that feeling in my life.
That instinct ever. That's never crossed my mind before, bro.
Yeah, never.
I mean,
if we get to a relegation scrap and they don't sack him and we're in the bottom 3, shit, it might get that way.
And then that's when they would probably look and go, you see, if we had just lost that game earlier on, it'd be all right. But no, I don't think whether we want the team to win, draw or lose really makes much of a difference right now. We're probably just going to get L's. So
I just want them to win matches, man. I really like the thing is with Graham Potter, even though I don't really trust him anymore, I just want him to win matches, get to the summer minimum. That is the ideal situation. Because if you can get to the summer, then if you win matches and get to the summer, then we can make a decision then. Really, that would be much easier than getting rid of you right now. The fact getting rid of you right now is a massive inconvenience, huge inconvenience. You're making us have to focus on interims and then permanents. At least do one season. At least get this season done. Get us into the top 7 or whatever, and then we can write off as you weren't able to do it. I don't know. It's jarring for me that it's gone this way. Don here with a super chat, much appreciated, brother. Emma Hayes has actually been mentioned as well, but I'm gonna bring in
that is really annoying, bro. You see, every time I hear her name, and it makes you look like the bad guy because of the way society is, and because she's a woman, she can't do it. Shut up. Listen, at the end of the day, there's a fundamental difference between men's football and women's football. The quality is astronomical. Please respect it. Respect the difference of quality between.
Also, how can you take the best women's manager and put her in the men's team and leave the women's team to die? It just doesn't make it. We're meant to be trying to make sure both teams are winning, not taking one out of one and make it like that. That just immediately for me pushes the women's game down. That's a massive statement on the women's game to say that your game is insignificant and in comparison to ours, we don't care. That is a complete wrong statement to be making. I've always said that I don't want Emma Hayes to be taking those shitty Wimbledon jobs and whatnot because it's at detriment to the women's game. If the women's game is going to grow, you need your best managers.
Let it be done organically.
Not only your best managers, but your best personalities. I'm only watching, bruv, her interviews are fire. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to bring more traffic. If you take her out and put her into the men's game, you are only shitting on the women's game 10 times more. Should be looking at that and learning lessons from it, but don't rip that up. You wouldn't do that the other way around. So it's completely wrong in my opinion. But let's bring in our next person, brother. Welcome to the show. Let me know who you are and state your case, bro.
Great meal, wonderful food, we once said, and now look where we are.
Yeah.
It's gone stale.
I'm starving.
It's off. All the food's off.
I'm actually so hungry.
Waiting
Haven't
for
eaten
stuff.
months.
Yeah. Yeah, how are you? All of you.
We're very good, bro. I mean,
All good,
as
all
good
good.
as you can be. Let me put an asterisk next to that. Yeah.
Honestly,
Terms and conditions.
Terms
Yeah.
and conditions do apply.
I'm gonna put this into context right now. I'm another Jose fan, Younes. Don't worry. I really want him back.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
yeah. Honestly, I mean, I would. This is not gonna happen, but Conte, please no. My mum really wants it to happen.
Antonio
Yeah.
Conte.
Yeah,
Conte. No.
Blimey.
I know. I keep on saying to her, just move on from him. But Mourinho's my choice for me.
And let me ask you on Mourinho. Is this a long-term thing for you, or is this a short-term get us back to where we need to be? Because Mourinho's never really done. He's not got any history of managing anywhere long-term, isn't it?
Yeah. If I'm being absolutely honest, I would actually want an interim first, then Mourinho in the summer to come in for pre-season.
Yeah.
It'd be the only possible way anyway.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He wouldn't leave mid-season.
I've got a spin.
Yeah.
He has to
I know
finish
you
it
got a
now.
spin, bro. Big up Goonie, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Goonie.
Enjoy Miami. Do you know what I'm saying? Brother, enjoy Miami. Just enjoy it because we play again.
He bless up people.
Bless up, bro. Big up.
Yeah.
I saw a thread that Younes put out on Mourinho. Was it a thread or was it a tweet on Mourinho that he's now started to use a lot more young players this season?
Thread. Yeah.
Yeah, thread. I guess Younes, you state your case for like Mourinho, because a lot of people are like, there's no way
Youth.
you can want this guy back. There's no way you can want this. Must be nostalgia. John Terry is the assistant. Some people are saying, like make sense for people, I guess. Like
The whole JT as an assistant thing is only because he's done well as an assistant. He is at Chelsea at the moment within the academy team. It would be his next step, for his own personal development. And the problem, as I've already said, is within this team is mentality and the way that we're trying to get back to our culture. It needs to be implemented back into the team. JT is an absolute pillar as to why we had the mentality that we did for all those years. So to just promote him from academy back to the first team as an assistant would be quality. But the whole youth thing, he's addressed that, Roma, Mourinho. 10 youth players he's brought up since he arrived at the job. 2 of them have been sold. 1 of them's on loan and the rest are still in the first team. So there's that. The fact he brought the under-14s to come and celebrate because I think they beat Lazio under-14s, so they won a derby, and he brought them into the men's first-team gym as a motivation and to celebrate and to I genuinely think if you just give the blueprint to Jose of you're not under pressure to succeed right now immediately, just like it was under Roman, that he would actually start thinking project and start thinking long.
Do you think tactically he's before we bring in Don, do you know what I'm saying? Big up, bro, for joining us. Do you think tactically Jose Mourinho can go toe-to-toe with the top managers? Because we haven't seen it, I guess, because he's not been in Champions League. He's not been in the Premier League where most of the top managers are at the moment.
I think with resources and with enough talent, yes, I do. It won't be pretty, but this goes back to our DNA chat sometimes. When you do things aggressively and you see it through, there's a different feeling to that sometimes. It's great watching your team play his champagne football and do it beautiful and like, whoa, how the hell did we do that? But sometimes when you get a win in a gritty way, like we used to at times, that's also beautiful. It's like flipping out.
Because it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be beautiful football.
It won't be beautiful.
Witnessing. No, it would be.
It won't be.
That's my main concern. That's my main concern as well.
I do think it won't be as defensive as a lot of people are saying. I think we'd be a lot more counter-attacking based. I think with players like Mudryk and Felix, Madueke, these guys with speed, I think in the same way we saw Eden Hazard, Willian, and all those guys go on those blitzing attacks sometimes, or those counter-attacks, if we address a striker situation, which I can also add, Jose is the only one to have gotten Drogba and Didio Costa to the club, the 2 strikers that were actually successful in all this time. So maybe he brings an Osimhen with him. Maybe he does something in order to get a striker to the club that will actually score goals. I think counter-attacking based, I think we'd be lethal. With the players we have now, I think we'd be lethal.
I mean,
But
Don,
Younes,
I know.
do you
yeah,
think? Sorry, quick question. Do you think Mourinho is still at the same level though, when it comes to actually making those changes in-game management? Because I'm looking at Ten Hag and I'm seeing what he's doing, and in-game management is mad. And I don't have that confidence in Mourinho. I'll be honest, not anymore. Not anymore.
I think I think a lot of people look to United and to his time at Spurs, and base a lot of that on that. As I've said, I think if you give him resource and you give him talent and you give him not as much pressure as he faced at Chelsea, for example, I think he delivers. Even in game, I think tactically, I think he does see things the way that he needs to see it. I think players end up letting him down sometimes. But this Chelsea team I'm looking at, I'm like, especially the way we bought players in this January window, I think it's talented. I think we're stacked. I honestly think this team has levels to it if it's managed correctly.
Yeah, I've
got faith in this Chelsea squad.
Yeah, I've got one thing. Mudryk. If put Mourinho with Mudryk, I honestly think Mudryk will become the Ballon d'Or player that De Zerbi once said.
Is Mourinho a realistic option though? Is he realistic?
He would jump at the chance. I'm not gonna lie. That's one thing I do know. He would jump at the chance. I mean, because your mic's a little bit cutty, bro. But I know you've got to get just a little bit. Let me know what's your stance. Like, what would you do next?
Boy, do you know what? I haven't really thought about Mourinho, but when Younes was saying that there, man, that was beautiful, man. Like, when I think about it, that link up would be nice, yeah. But obviously, like, Mourinho has left a little bit of a stain since, you know, his last 2 jobs that he's had in the Prem. But, you know, like, he knows Chelsea inside out, right? And look what he's done with Roma as well when he first sort of came in, with Tammy as well. But for me, when I was looking at the realistic options that have been mentioned, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can. Just a little bit. Yeah, a bit
little fuzzy.
Let me disconnect these because I think that's the reason why. Hold on.
It's a bit fuzzy.
2 seconds ago. Sorry, man.
You're converting people in the chat, Younes.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
That's much better.
Much better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So when I was looking at the realistic options, Enrique, Zidane, you got Flick, who's been mentioned a few times because of the appearances at Stamford Bridge. I'm looking at Enrique. I'm not jumping at him, but when I look at what he done with Barcelona of that front three and how he played these counter-attacking football in that 4-3-3, I'm looking at us right now. Defensively, we're not struggling, right? I know the past few games we have been because of Potter's decision-making, but if you look at it, we're not firing. I know we haven't got a striker, but it just doesn't feel like there's going to be a goal coming from anywhere. So I feel like with Enrique, he can definitely get something out of the attackers that we've got because we're stacked with attackers now. It's just that I feel like they're not being coached properly. So when I look at that Barcelona team, I look at Neymar, Messi and Suarez. Obviously, we haven't got that at Chelsea at the moment, right? But the principles are there. So if we go out and get a CDM, we hope, I don't know, maybe he goes to a 4-3-3. We put that CDM there. You've got Enzo and you've got Felix playing as, let's say, 2 8s, for example. I think we'll just outscore teams. I'll be honest, if we did take Enrique on. But I do have reservations because, like Goonie said, I feel like he hasn't really got a plan B. It's just his way or no way. So I'm kind of looking at Vivell and Paul and Stanley and sort of trusting them now as the football brains to identify the right person. Because I'm a bit like you, Matisse. I'm so specific with what I'm looking for right now. I'm not jumping at Luis Enrique.
There's a lot of tick boxes. There's a lot of boxes you got to tick for me right now.
Exactly.
Mourinho doesn't tick all them boxes. At least I haven't been watching Roma. I haven't been watching Roma enough to be saying he's ticking them boxes. From what I remember of Mourinho,
they're playing tonight. So
yeah, he is. Yeah, they are playing tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, this is where I'm sort of trusting with Stanley and trusting Vivell.
Shit, they're 1-0 down. Hey, Mourinho. You better get them 3 points. You must. You must.
Right.
This is where I'm trusting them.
You must pick up them 3 points. Roma are losing.
Who are they playing?
Bruv, they're playing some sort of
Cremonese.
They're playing some sort of Italian dish. They're playing some sort of food, bro.
Parmesan cheese all over it.
Yeah, bro. Listen.
Right.
Yeah, man. So this is where like I'm trusting the recruitment team that we have now to hopefully identify someone, and then we look at it because I'm seeing names like De Zerbi coming up now, and I'm like, that's just not going to happen.
De Zerbi,
I don't know where his names come from, and I don't see the owners going down that route, especially with the shit show we've had. Thomas Frank is the same sort of thing. It's giving me Potter vibes. So when I'm looking at the options now, realistically, with the team that we've got, I've been looking more at Enrique. I'm not jumping at him. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at what we've got and the tools available, I feel like he can actually use them best, even though he hasn't really got a plan B. But if we're outscoring teams, do you really need a plan B? This is the thing. Do you need a plan B for outscoring teams?
Before I let you two go, because I want to go through, obviously, we've got some listeners still waiting as well, but you guys have been quality. Let me be playing devil's advocate. This is Pochettino, right? Former Tottenham manager, I know. Former Southampton manager. I know he's not a winner in a lot of people's eyes. But as a coach, because in my opinion, this team does need a coach. Not just a manager, they need a coach, because there's a lot of young players that need to be developed, improved, and brought to a certain level. Because I don't think Mudryk and Madueke are at the level right now. They're not at the Lampard, Drogba level where you just throw in a manager and you win. Do you know what I mean? They need coaching. They need improving.
Yeah.
Poch has shown with Southampton and Tottenham that he's done 2 projects, right? He's developed young players. He's played a decent or good standard of football. He's actually way overachieved in terms of where he's finished. Got Tottenham to a Champions League final with very little money and with playing at Wembley. Now he's gone to PSG and he's worked and learned the harsh lessons of working with stars. We don't have those level of magnitude players anyway, so it would be a drop-off in terms of egos. And we're currently in a situation we've got a lot of young players and we're looking to, progress. Why Poch is given such a massive amount of kind of like people turn their nose up at him, like as if he's some sort of scrub. I think he's very harshly rated. Now, I'm not here to say that Poch is 100%. I haven't got a choice at the moment. I'm still thinking about it. Personally, I need to go and do my research. I'm going to make a video on that in the coming days. But I think Poch should be a lot higher up on people's list than I think he gets credit for, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
yeah.
I think. Go on, bro.
Yeah. This isn't really about Poch though. When I think about like, you know how the owners are like really wanting to go long term. I'm all for that because, we're Chelsea. We have a habit of sacking managers every week, which we did win silverware and that was nice. But if you want to go long term, you have to have the right guy in. And I really think that when you're mentioning Poch now and like the stuff he's done at Southampton and Spurs, albeit Spurs, but I actually think people should respect him of what he's done. Like with the resources, again, it's Southampton. Like you don't have that much. He should actually be higher up people's lists, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about you, Dom?
What it is, Matisse, with Poch, he's a good coach. I rate him as a coach. But what I think stained his time in the Prem was the decision that he made when they got to the final, when Tottenham got to the final, playing Lucas Moura getting a hat-trick, dropping him in the final, and then starting a Harry Kane, who was limping around all game and literally did nothing. So that was a massive stain.
In the final moments,
moments, exactly that. In the final moments, it's like he chokes up. And I think people are a little bit skeptical and kind of have PTSD about that. It's like, oh, we don't want that at Chelsea because if he gets us to that final, what is he going to do? Is he going to decide to just randomly drop Reece James and put Aspilicueta there? Is he randomly going to?
This is also a Chelsea team that have lost five
exactly.
Wembley finals in a row.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I'm skeptical because it's like when you've had that opportunity to just finish off the job, you can't do it. But getting there, he's been able to do it because look, working at Tottenham,
got Tottenham in the title race. Crazy.
He's got Tottenham in the title race, top 4. He's a good coach. I rate him as a coach, but it's like when in the final moments, can he actually do it? And that's what people have questions about. But it's like if you're not going to give him the job, how are you going to ever know?
Yeah.
So
and
looking at it right now, we're a team that have the tools. We need a coach because these players are not being coached, and I'm not hearing that excuse about X amount of players, right? Because you had the same excuse when it came to no players, when you had 12 players injured, and now you're complaining you've got too many players. I'm not hearing that. You should be able to have that control. The owners have backed you now. They've said, we are giving you this long-term project, right? You should have the power and the braveness to go out there and say, listen, you're not part of my plans. You're going to be baking off over there. This is who I'm going to focus on now, right? So I feel like with Poch, he'll be able to sort of come in, if he was to come to Chelsea, and be able to coach these guys. And he does have a little bit of pedigree, more pedigree than Potter. I know he hasn't really won anything.
He does have more pedigree.
I don't really look at that what he won in France because that's a super team and they always win that trophy anyway. what he won in France.
It's
But
something though, managing those egos and being at that level with
I would-
resource.
Before I let you guys
and
go,
failing at PSG. Just one final point.
Yeah, go on.
Failing at PSG doesn't mean anything because Tuchel got sacked.
yeah,
Thiago Silva, they got to the final the year before, and what happened the year after? He won the Champions League with us, and Thiago
Yeah.
Silva won the Champions League with us. So failing at PSG isn't. It's fake. I don't really see it as a failure because it's like you're set up to fail.
I mean, you're
You
set
know what
up
I
to
mean?
fail with the
So-
and another thing I want to add before I let you guys go is with Poch. People say he hasn't won and he's bottled, but he's not been at winning clubs. For me, sometimes we judge managers and we say, "Oh, you've bottled it," but was you at a winning club in the first place? Conte has not won anything at Tottenham. Mourinho did not win anything at Tottenham. Southampton are not expected to win. So for me, when you get to those final moments with those teams, with Tottenham in particular, yes, we could say that he didn't finish off the job, but he was never expected to be there in the first place. If you did that with a club of the magnitude of a Chelsea and Man United, then yes, you're a bottler. But everybody goes into Tottenham and fails to win. So you're kind of just following status quo. And he never got extreme amounts of money to play with either. That squad kind of was just allowed to fall out.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
speaking of like bottling at the last moment, it's just one more thing. Man City versus Chelsea, 2021 Champions League final. Pep didn't play a defensive midfielder.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he
Yeah.
has a,
But
he has a
the
very,
thing,
very different team.
I think Poch would have definitely learned from it now. If he was to come in, the more I think about him, this guy's a good coach, man. Like I know a lot about him. We've watched him in the Premier League, so I know more about him than I do Luis Enrique. And again, Luis Enrique,
and he knows the league as well. That's the thing. And we've seen him improve young players, Kane, Ali, etc. So, all right, I'm going to let you guys go. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on. We're going to move.
Thank you very much.
Gonna
Pleasure, see your
guys.
video now, Younes. I see you posted. Gonna watch it now.
Scheduled. My man's on it, bro. Clean. In a bit. Thank you.
In a bit, lads. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, bro.
Okay, cool. We're gonna move on. Big up, Don. We're gonna move on. I've closed the lines. The lines are closed. So everybody in here currently in the background, obviously we will get you on the show. But if you haven't come through up until this point, then obviously I'm gonna, because we can't go on forever. I'm not gonna go on for 3 hours because I gotta eat. I gotta eat dinner. All you can eat, Chelsea. We gotta eat. But if you're in already, then we will get to you. And obviously, next time we do one of these, then hopefully you make it through. You know what I'm saying? So let's go through to Chris. And I think we've also got, is it Hano? Big up, guys. What are you saying?
Hey, what's going, guys? What's going?
Yeah, big up. Chris, I'll start with you, bro. Tell me your stance. Yes, go on.
I want Potter out, man. This guy is as clueless as a doorknob. Like, it doesn't get worse than this. Like, you watch the games, this guy's tactics is mind-blowing. You take Mason Mount from midfield to put him on the wing, then take the striker and put him on the wing and put Mason Mount at forward. This guy is not good at his own position. Or you expect him to become a forward and miraculously become good? Like, this guy's and he always has excuses. Like, it's like he's like Goldilocks. This team is too big. This team is too small. This team is like, he just wants the team just right. It makes no sense.
And I've always said at Chelsea, you're very rarely going to get a just right situation because there's always a problem coming around on your doorstep. So he's going to soon maybe learn about the way things move around here. I'm just going to read out the poll results before I get your stance on who you would bring in. I said to pick a manager. It was 36% for Flick. It was 32% for Mourinho, 17% for Enrique, and 13% for Poch is why I decided to give you a little bit more Poch prop, just to see if I could sway the results. But anyway, who would be your selection, Chris, bro?
I would say Poch because he has Premier League experience as compared to Enrique. Let's forget Zidane. Zidane is not coming here. He doesn't even like England. So
he's not happy.
You're not. Why I didn't even put him in the poll. Zidane is not happening. Zidane's not happening. But I'll explain that in another video. Go on. So you go with Poch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would put him in there, but as long as it's not Potter, like maybe the owners are waiting for him to lose the Champions League. Maybe it's a clause in his contract, because some contracts have clause. If you don't make the Champions League, then we'll fire you. They're trying to, I guess, hold on to have the clause to execute him, not to make the 60 mil pay, man. So maybe that's why. But it's like the season's already gone, bro. Just let him go. and you're saying you're going to give him an extra transfer window, then we're going to be at the same stage again. You're going to fire him in the middle of the season. Another manager is going to come, and then the same recycled problem. So just get rid of him. It's okay to be wrong once in a while. Just get rid of him, and we move from there. But come on, man, this obsession, and because he has this this weird fetish with Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, and Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz hasn't scored in like almost a year.
He did drop the first two. To be fair to him, credit to him, he actually did drop them, didn't he? But Kai Havertz, he continues.
He still has to bring them in. It's like they're never far from his thought.
I mean, it's such an interesting situation with this, because if we want them to get the right man, and the right man is not available right now, then they have to go with either an interim or they have to stick with Potter. And
an interim, like we're as relegation form we're in, right?
Yeah, who would that interim be? That's the question, bro. I'll come to you. Is it Hano? Is it, bro? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Oh, you muted?
Hanu.
Hanu. Big up. Welcome to the show, bro. Let me know what's your decision.
Okay. I think sack him. Like it's diabolical. I have a name to mention. End of the season. I don't know who takes us till the end of the season. King Carlo.
Oh.
Madrid situation.
Ancelotti.
Madrid situation is a bit tricky right now. With them not as far as they want to be with La Liga behind Barca. We all know Madrid and them. So why not? We've seen what he can do. That's me personally, but for like Younes said, it's small steps, and I think Tuchel would have been the perfect plan because short term already ticks off, now just long term. But the problem is with Carlo, we haven't seen him like go with long spells, like 2-3 years at a club that I know of. Like we've seen maybe 1 year at Madrid. 1 year or 2, 1.5 at Chelsea. But the thing is, can he take that for the long term? But for this season right now, sack Potter, agree 100%. The interim, I don't know. Like,
I don't think anybody knows. Nobody's come with a real interim option. I think the only issue with Ancelotti, I like Ancelotti a lot. I think Ancelotti gave us one of our, if not our best season in terms of entertainment football-wise when we won the title in that season. The issue with Ancelotti is I don't think that's realistic personally, just due to the fact that I think he's either going to retire, and there's been some links to Brazil, but I think he's actually going to be ending his club management career at the end of the season. That's the last I heard of it, is that he.
How old is he now?
Well, bruv, he's been around since the start. Since the start of football. He's been here since the beginning. Since we started. He's 63. He's 63.
That's not old.
Yeah.
It isn't old, but I think he started like he's been here for the last
very young.
Very young. And I feel like with him, to give him now a situation where it's not a cherry on top of the cake and you actually need the whole cake, I think you're kind of like squeezing the sponge a little bit of Ancelotti. You're asking him to do a long-term project at age 63 when he's already done everything he needs to do in football, and he's already been at this club as well. It would be a comeback. I don't see why he would take that move. He's already at the biggest club in the world. He's about to go for another Champions League. You're right. He's probably not going to get La Liga, although Barcelona did lose over the weekend. But for him to now go again and recharge and go with this young group that need so much coaching, so much, fleshing out, I think it's dead. I don't think it aligns time-wise, unfortunately. If we could go back 5-6 years and get him then it would have been a great move. But I think it would be too little, too late now at this point.
The thing to Matisse is because he has. When you hire a coach for Chelsea, you have to hire a winner. Like you're looking at World Cup, Champions League, FA Cup, or another cup winners. Like when you hire a Graham Potter, what are you going to tell me that I should actually follow you? Like I've won at the highest level. You have been Brighton to 10th. Okay, what are you going to teach me? So players are not going to respect you.
No, he won. What is it? He won the Swedish third division.
The thing is with it, yeah, is that I know what Sarri did at Napoli is way more impressive than Brighton, right? Because Napoli's a bigger club. But when Sarri came to us, he hadn't won anything either. So I don't even mind a manager coming to us who hasn't won, especially if you haven't been in winning situations with the clubs you've been managing, but you've been winning matches and you've been outperforming and overperforming, and then you need a club of our magnitude to kind of. How many times have we brought a trophy to someone? We brought Fernando Torres the Champions League trophy. We got Sarri. We turn people into winners if they're not already. But you have to have that mindset.
They also have to come with a winning mentality. Like Graham Potter is trying to get along with everybody, the cooking staff, the security guard, everybody is trying to be best friends with. That doesn't work at a club like Chelsea. Guys, players are going to look at you like, what? It's okay if I don't play well, you're not going to take me off, or what are you going to do? You look at Mourinho. You look at he's always comparing himself to Arteta. Have you ever seen Arteta on the sideline? He looks like he wants to fight someone every time Arsenal do something bad. Graham Potter is trying to be hugging everybody and greeting everybody because that's life, I guess.
Well, this is kind of like where you get to where this is micro-analyzing movements at this point, isn't it? And this is where you get to, for me, when you don't win football matches, is people start looking for things to cling on to in terms of what are you doing in terms of your actions, in terms of your movements, in terms of the way that you speak, in terms of the way that you move, and all these things. But really, what really actually matters is results and is tactics and is, producing and is being ruthless and cutthroat with players and handling the biggest and most difficult situations. When Lukaku lands at your door with a Sky Italia interview, what do you do? That is in essence what it's about. And then all the extra intangibles of personality come on top, because we've seen quiet, calm guys who demand respect like Ancelotti, and we've seen chaotic guys who dash chairs like Conte who demand respect as well. I'm gonna let you guys go because I want to keep moving it through, and we're gonna keep going through the rest of the callers. Thank you so much for coming on.
Cheers,
and I want to blaze through these super chats as well. We're going to be coming towards the end of the show once these final calls are wrapped up. Thank you so much, guys. It's been an interesting one. I'm not gonna lie. We've been running these polls. Yeah, it's good. It's good to see what the fan base is thinking. It's been a while since we've done this. Anytime you got to go, Younes, as well, let me know. I don't want to keep you here for the rest of your whole evening, because I know you got Big Six Extra to absolutely land, brother. I don't know how you're gonna deal with them.
I don't know either, bro. I think we're gonna have to set up the red as well and just go to hell and just not say anything for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Listen, it's gonna be extremely difficult. Let's blaze through these. Potter has 9 lives, bro. You know what? Yeah, he might do. He might do. More breaks in training than wins. There was another break today. I mean, apparently it's a scheduled day off. So it was weeks in advance. Yeah, so it was already planned weeks.
So that makes it okay.
I've been watching you on Twitter. You're just like bang, 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 bang. I'm not even active at this point. I'm just not even here. Don't you think Todd Boehly is responsible for this mess? Of course, he has to take responsibility for sure. I mean, he's in charge. Get Emma Hayes in now. I mean, we've spoken about that. Emma Hayes, anyone better track record? We definitely mentioned it, but it's an interesting one that everybody's putting up. Potter out, Sarri in. Sarri was mentioned. I don't know what your thoughts on that, Younes. On Sarri.
Mental. To be fair, the circumstances now are probably suited for Sarri than it was when he first arrived. So yeah.
Poch in, call up Kane. We start scoring easy. Easy cups. All right, cool. Let's see. Can we get an interim in, please? Do you know what it is? Yeah, as much as I think that would be the best case, like the next step.
Does he mean can we get an interim win? As in like an interim of a win, just as a win or something. I don't know. Like
clubs at the moment with no manager are doing very well. They're winning matches,
bro. They're winning. Yeah,
we should know. Matt and the London Cowgirls in the mud. Yeehaw! Wow. If you are still joining, please do not, because the lines are officially closed on this C factor. I'm going to call it Chelsea factor instead of X. Because we're not going to keep going for the rest of the night. I've locked it off already, so we're just going through the people that were in already, and then next time then we'll go again. So we got Winter Surfer in, and my brother as well. Amnal, bro, have you been on already? No, you haven't already, have you? Did we speak?
No, he hasn't.
No, but did we speak before? Have you been on a calling show before?
No, I haven't. This one first. I
recognize you, bro. Listen, talk to me, guys. Whoever wants to go first, what is your decision?
I mean, this guy needs to go, man. Like seriously, I don't know what he is cooking, but like
this is like the worst any manager has ever been with us. Like, well, I don't know. It has probably been the worst manager in PL history. Like, I don't know like any manager at any other club like pulling this shit off. Like, regardless of being at Chelsea or not.
Mm.
Just like this guy needs to go.
Who would you bring in to replace? Do you know?
So, like the two guys, I mean, Mourinho is like, I mean, you know, he can cook with like if you have this type of like sort of lineup, Mourinho can definitely cook it this team. But then I'll also like to have if we can have Flick because like I don't know if people know, but like with his 2 year stint at Bayern, Flick has like really insane stats today. It's like he had a 83% win rate. He
Yeah,
had the 7 losses. He won every single competition he took part in. He's the only manager after Pep to win like 6 titles. Like everything a club can play in, they have won it. He's the only other manager besides Pep to do that. Pep did it in his first season, 2009 Barcelona. He has no other manager has ever done that. And like his teams, like across like in that 2 year stint, his teams had like a 3 goal average per game in all competitions.
Mm.
Like his teams like outscored like everybody like crazy. So Flick, I mean, if you wanna take that gamble, Flick seems like a pretty good option to me.
Mm. What about you, bro? Winter Surfer. What's your option? Who are you going with? And what's your stance? I mean, would you even
Well,
keep?
I would like to congratulate Potter on doing 2 things I never thought I would see again, and that was uniting this Chelsea fan base and being worse than Scolari, AVB, and Lampard. I thought I would never see a manager be worse than him. I'm supporting manager before Roman. He is the worst manager at Chelsea ever. Me supporting. Yeah, he's worse. Here's an out of the box for interim. I'd go to England and ask for Steve Holland.
Fair.
Wow.
Fair. That's not a bad shout.
He was there under Mourinho. He was there under Mourinho. He was there under Conte. I think he was there,
do you know what? Considering we haven't had any interim shouts. That's it's great to hear an interim shout.
I just think just out the box. It's out the box. He's proper Chelsea or whatever that frigging the permanent one is a lot harder because the reason Chelsea fans don't like Poch is because he's a Spurs manager. It's the only reason they don't like him. A bunch of them don't like him. If he was anywhere else, they'd take him. It's not like a Rafa Benitez situation. He's not said horrible things against Chelsea.
It's true.
You know I mean? And he's won. He's won things now. Whatever you think about PSG, he still has to go there and win stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, Flick's the obvious one because he was seen at the Chelsea games, stuff like that. I understand him, the question mark on Enrique because if you look at his record at Roma and is Espanyol or Celtic?
I forgot he even managed Roma. You know that.
Yeah, if you look at his record at Roma, it's not that good.
And even in Spain in the World Cup, it's tough.
And Spain, I mean, when you start Ferran Torres, Olmo, and Morata as your front three consistently, I have to question.
He makes some big calls for his selection.
He did. Yeah, remember he didn't take any. Did he not take any Madrid players?
Didn't take Ramos.
Yeah, because of the Barca, which is weird because he played for both Barca and Real Madrid. So, but I mean, I fear for the atmosphere on Saturday, outside and inside the ground. I really fear for the atmosphere, especially if it's a bad result, like even a draw, something like that. Because I really do, and I just listen. This is all about ego and finances for me now. It's egos on the owner's sides and the finances. I mean, I don't know what it is, but this reminds me of more of a Moyes situation at Manchester United. And remember when they sacked him on a 6-year contract, they were still paying him 5 years later. So I just ripped it. And everyone goes, well, we haven't got anyone lined up. I just want him out now because the longer it is, the worse it gets. Just get him out now. I don't care if you haven't even gotten into. Give Billy the kit man the job for the game. So just get him out.
I get you because it is getting toxic, isn't it? It is getting. And what are the odds of him bringing this back? Like I've never seen anyone get to this level and bring it back. That's where I'm at now. I'm like,
it's already lost.
As much as I tried to give you, I tried to give you so much time. But when you get to this level where you're not even getting the best out of Reece James, It's like, bro, like, can you even bring this back? Because everybody's kind of like, everybody's against you now. When the match going fans turn, it's very difficult to get them back on side. I've never seen anyone do it because they usually are sacked by now.
I don't know if you guys heard, because I know Lewis and that, they went there. People were leaving the way in before the second goal went in. Not even after the second goal in. People were leaving. Whenever you ever heard that at Spurs game, a Chelsea fans leaving before the end. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen. He doesn't even. That's what he waited for. He's not even getting the Sarri treatment at Cardiff. Do you remember the Sarri treatment at Cardiff when they told him to go do one? Essentially, he's not even getting that. He's not even getting that. That's what he was. And I just feared that. Todd Bowley, take the L, bro. You didn't know what you were doing because you didn't have the infrastructure. It's all good. It's all good. Take the L.
It's all good. Like, we forgive you. You know what I mean? Some of us,
the longer you
won't forgive you, but
the longer you leave it, it turns on you, and it's already turning, right? And it's not just, you're right. Someone said it before. It's not just Bowley. It's because he's the face, right? Yeah. He's the face of this.
The entire consortium.
It's the rest. I want Ravel, Paul Winstanley, who else just go and go, listen, we understand what happened in the summer. It was a rush. Marina, check left. You didn't have anyone holding your hand. Promise him a Tuchel. Now you got us in. Let us run the club. We know who we want. We don't want Potter. It just needs to go, because I tell you what, we don't beat Leeds. I don't know where we're winning.
I don't know where we're winning anyway.
When everything comes to our ground, that midfield's going to run all over us. That Onana, because I was told online, Onana's not good enough for a Chelsea midfield. Onana's going to steamroller us, and he's going to put in a performance of a lifetime. And Sean Dyche is going to beat us.
I mean, James Ward-Prowse, Lavia, they've all steamrolled. I mean,
we are done. We're done. And that's you. Listen. I don't want to play Millwall next season in the Championship.
Let's go to the den. Let's go, man.
He might get promoted. They're sitting fifth.
Can you imagine the scene if we go to the Championship? Down in the dirt,
mate.
Old Kent Road. Who's coming? Who's with me?
I mean,
who's with me?
Who's the derby? QPR.
QPR again.
You know what? As much as I play with the 40 points, if we got relegated, I'd genuinely be flabbergasted.
I'm imagining what Coatley signings will think when they're playing in the Championship.
I don't think it will happen, but the reason why I say 40 points is because that's actually genuinely the next target. Like, because we're not chasing Europe. We're not catching up to Europe. We're actually getting further and further behind. But the funny thing is that even if we were to finish on 45 or 47, it's still a genuine disgrace. Like, let's not get that twisted. So it's not like
you can't rule it out, though. That's the thing. You can't.
If we hit, we're on 31. If we were to hit 48, that would probably be pretty impressive. That would actually be good form. We are going to be finishing the season on around 40-something points at this rate.
We scored 23 goals in 24 games. 23 goals in 24 games.
Like, imagine ending the season on 40-something points. Say 7 or 8 points off the bottom three. That's what it's looking like.
This is worse than 15-16. This is worse than 15. Imagine saying that.
Much worse.
Imagine saying that a year ago. Like, worse than 15-16. It's worse.
It's insane because the fixtures are actually only getting more difficult. We've got to go to Arsenal, go to City, go to
Newcastle.
We got Newcastle United. At home. We got Brentford at home, Brighton at home. We got United away. We got Liverpool at home.
Everton.
Yeah, I left them out because they're nice ones.
What, you say that?
I know. I say that.
Definitely in relegation, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to let you guys go. Unless you want to make a final point, bro. Go on. Do you want to make a final point?
Who, me?
Yeah, Mal. Yeah, you want to make a final point?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight if we go to relegation. I mean, because all these teams, like, everybody is near like that 30, 27, 25. Like, they're just like neck and neck. It's going to be a pot.
Bro, it's insane. Right, well, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for coming on and giving your thoughts. You've just reminded me where we are. It's horrendous. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wow, that was football is a humbler, bro.
It was a reality check, wasn't it? That was a reality check.
That was a reality check. That one.
Wow.
Football is we're gonna end the season on 47, and I'm being kind because that would be how many points? That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins.
Like, if we were to, bro, how many wins is that? 40. So let's say if you get 3 wins, you're on what are we on? 31, right? We're on 31.
Yeah.
So that takes us to 40. 3 wins from 40, and then slap another 2-3 wins on that, and you're ending on the 40 mark. So 6 wins, 5-6 wins, round about that.
Wow.
Which is 1/3 of our games, which is actually not even a good run. But the standards are so low that would actually be a good run in comparison to what we've been doing.
It's outrageous.
Jesus
It's
Christ,
outrageous.
5 wins. Bloody hell. That's not even good.
That's
not
shocking.
even, that's bad. Right, we've got Alan coming in and we've got Eric. Chelsea man, there's no camera on there, so I had to skip you. And guys, I think the rest of you have kind of joined towards the back end of the show, but I'm gonna bring in 2 more after this, and then we're gonna be wrapping up because a lot of others don't have their camera on. All right, Eric, talk to me, bro. How you feeling?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm struggling.
Understandable.
trying.
It's understandable.
I'm trying my best.
I'm trying also, and thank you for having me, and thank you for taking all those hits on the Chelsea forums on our behalf, on the behalf of our Chelsea fans. Thank you. Younes, thank you for all. Younes, always thank you for being blunt and straight to the point.
No problem.
Yeah. So
with pleasure.
Yeah.
So let me know.
Big up from Nairobi, Kenya.
Big up. Yeah. So what's your choice, bro? What I'm so intrigued
Out,
to hear what you're.
out. He needs to be out. He needs to be out.
Okay.
Out.
Wow.
Because the one thing that appalls me with Potter is in-game management. Like the way we start very good. The first 15 to 30 minutes, we are the better team. Like, you start watching the game, you're like, I'm happy. We are playing good football. Then after that, no energy, no nothing. They go. I think when they go for halftime, I think he gives his players morphine. They come out looking. It's a struggle.
Return to the pitch. I mean, that first goal that went in at Tottenham, I didn't even get to react to it because I didn't see it. I was still settling myself at half time. Watch along. And
I missed the goal as well. I have to go back and see the replay.
I looked to my right and I was like, raw. That was quick. I was like, oh, all right. So here we are. Do you know what I mean? So unbelievable. There does seem to be a lack of, I mean, to be fair, the first halves recently we've at least had 10, 15, 20-minute cameos of a good performance incoming, and then it kind of fizzles out, then never returns. So you want him out. Who would you bring in? Do you have a name?
Honestly, I forget the name, but the Napoli manager.
Spellini?
Yes, that's the guy. That's the guy for me. That guy for me, he plays good football. He plays beautiful football, and when it comes to shithousery, like when the game is too hard,
Spalletti.
He does it for you. Yeah. So Spalletti for me is a good manager. And also if everything aligns well, he can come with the Oshiman. So,
although it would be very, very, very difficult to get Spalletti for 2 reasons. One is because he's only just hit peak with that Napoli team, so I don't know whether he would want to continue that because it can go far. He will be champions this season, and we have to remember, if we even think of approaching Napoli for any one of their assets, we're going to have to talk to ADL again. And I don't know if we're actually mentally prepared for that.
Yeah.
Because the guy
it's a long talk. It's a long talk.
You thought Rui Costa was bad. ADL is another level.
ADL is Rui Costa on steroids. So
literally,
I think there's no Victor Osimhen this summer, and there's no manager either. And also because they're in the title race, like you said, for me, there's no way he's leaving that. He has the opportunity to make history at Napoli, to win that league and Champions League, which they're in more than in contention for, because they're so far clear of Serie A, they could actually start to rest players. They have something like 5. They're approaching 5 games, in terms of the security net. If they keep winning this way, they'll have 5 games to bag at the end of the season where they could just do whatever they want. Alan, bro, talk to me. What's your stance? Pleasure having you
on. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and big up Younes, big up yourself, Matisse. In regards to part in or part out, big man, the empirical data that you have on your hands today clearly shows that the whole fan base is part out. Like, no one's left in the part hive. It's empty, bro. It's empty. But yeah, no. From that aspect, like for me, bro, if I start going into this, man, we're here for another 30 minutes. Like, no need to even cook him. Like, I'm going to speak more from a sense of like what the media's saying, in the sense of like who are the type of profiles that we're looking to get in if he was to go out. And me, ideally, I'm on board with Younes in the sense that I would want Mourinho in primarily. Then after, my second choice would be Flick. Mostly Mourinho, simply because I think that right now, okay, we do need a coach, but I think right now the problem in this squad is the mentality. And I think mentality has been an issue for the past 10 years or so. Like, even during the Hazards, the Williams, like, Mourinho got booted because the players turned on him, because the Hazard, like, are we forgetting Fabregas, Hazard, Costa being called rats? Like, it's mentality has been an issue at Chelsea now for some time, and I think that we need like a proper manager to come and instill a winning mentality. Gotta get that dog back in.
A dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, that would be it. But based on what we're hearing, like the Thomas Franks and whatnot, like, I think that, again, if we're going for that type of manager, it's still going to have to be someone that has some type of mentality, someone that's going to come in and isn't going to be intimidated by the size or the magnitude of the job. So I'm thinking a De Zerbi, even though it's ironical because he's at Brighton. But also, I think an outside child that no one's talking about is the current Celtic manager, I can't pronounce his last name. But my flatmate.
I mean, especially in SPL for sure. I know they're top of the league by quite a long way.
But isn't even that's really interesting. Like, my flatmate is a Celtic fan, and they had like the end of year documentary that we were watching earlier.
His name's a tongue twister. I ain't pronouncing this.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work. Yeah, it ain't gonna work.
But point being is, like, his time in the J League and his time in Australia was pretty impressive in the sense of the mentality and what it demands from his players and whatnot. And I think that he would have the mentality to come into the job and not be intimidated and instill his style of play and his ethos on this team. I think that's a pretty good shout. But ideally, yeah, we need someone that's proven.
He looks like a drug cartel boss or something.
I've just googled him now. Yeah, he is from Australia. And who is our new mentality monster, Younes?
He's a Kiwi.
New Zealand. Kiwi,
shit.
But
sorry. Yeah, sorry, boy. Yeah, that failed. Yeah, so this can't work. They hate each other. There's a rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, isn't there? Big one.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work. Yeah, that's already bag fumbled from that moment. All right, big up. I appreciate you guys. We're gonna be coming towards a close. Appreciate you giving your opinions. Big ups. Appreciate the support and the contribution to the show. I know you've had to wait a while. But thank you so much for staying patient, and yeah, man, hopefully we don't have to do one of these again soon, because we want to be smiling. I want to be inviting you guys on like I did all those years ago with the call-in show after a Champions League win, and we were just like,
exactly.
Bro, there was just, I don't know, whoever remembers that, it's a long time ago on the channel where we had that set. Monster was there, Dammy was there, Saj was crying his eyes out, and we had all the drinks flowing. We won the Champions League and the call-in show. It was a great day. It's a great night. I want that back. But right now, we're in the
and drink apple juice for fun. Not
100%. Apple juice was flowing, bro. Every day it was flowing. All right, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming on. All right, we're gonna do two more, and then this is it. And I'm going with cameras are on. Hold on a second. Let's see. Oh, what's going on? Oh. Yeah, no camera there. These are the last two guys, purely because I know they've been here for a long time. The rest of you kind of joined in very late when we already closed it, because we have to wrap up to move on to the other side of the coin almost, and get food. It's a nice way to segue Miz into the show. I gotta eat. It's nearly 2 hours, and I'm meant to be bringing a FIFA stream to you today, but I got to drop a video as well. So we're going to see if there's any time, but I don't even know what time it is anymore. Anyway, big up to you guys that have just joined us. I know you've left actually something in the private chat, bro, which I'm going to, did I read it out already? I didn't read. Oh, this one here was, this was about more Poch speaking. Someone else is in the background. Yeah. This was Poch will be more motivated to win at Chelsea that can coach. Poch will be very aware of his record of winning and we'll know what happens if he fails at Chelsea. Okay, appreciate it. If you have anything else to say and you're joining in late, definitely leave something in the chat. I'm going to read it out 100% just so you guys do feel like you was at least involved in some capacity. And that's much appreciated. All right, who wants to kick it off with their opinion first of all? Bro, yeah, go for it. Your hands up.
First of all, Matisse, man, it's an absolute pleasure, man. Like, I always watch you. I always watch videos of Younes, the OG of YouTube and Chelsea YouTube. So big up to you guys. Like, you guys are my depressing pill, because right now watching Chelsea's torture, absolute torture. So you guys are depressing pill for all the Chelsea fans, and big up to you guys as well. The hard work you put on, man, that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Starting off with Chelsea, see, for me, the problem is, like, I don't know which side to be, like, on Potter in, Potter out, because see, we have to be honest as well. Like, whenever we say that sacking Potter is going to cost us like 82 million and 100 million above, like, many people go on, it's not your money, it's the club money. But the problem is, it's still our money, because it's the club, and we aren't a very profitable club. Like, people don't get it. Like, we aren't a very high commercial earning club. Like, Tottenham, I think, are very near or above us, as much I saw, and Arsenal are far above us. Manchester United, no comparison. Liverpool, like, I saw Liverpool's release today of financial detail. That's massive growth they've got there. The commercials they've got, the earning they are earning right now, the TV deals and the shirt sponsors. I think we are very much behind. Our stadium is the smallest in the top 6, smaller than Newcastle. The problem is, it's very easy on Twitter for people to say that Chelsea can be out of Champions League for 2 years, 3 years. There won't be any trouble. That's not the case. We will be in massive trouble if we're out of Champions League for 2 years. And my problem is, the owners have literally put so much pride in Potter. Like, as Younes put very well in the video, you put emergency video after Southampton. You cannot give a guy 12 million contract after he was on 1.75 million. How? Like, that was Todd Bully showing everyone, guys, this is my guy. I've sacked Tuchel. I don't like him. This is my guy. My guy is Graham Potter. I will back him. Now, the problem is, first of all, sacking him is going to cost a lot of money, ego and everything. And now if you bring Luis Enrique, will Luis Enrique take a less salary than that? He will demand 15 million at least if Graham Potter is getting 12. So, brothers, for me, the problem, the money, and we haven't even counted Tuchel's staff getting sacked, the money we have paid to Tuchel, Potter's staff we have brought in. How many staff we have brought in? The coach from Brighton, the former Brighton player who is a coach as well. It could cost us about 100 million plus bringing in a new manager. That's disastrous. I just don't think Potter is going to go, and I think they will stick by him at least till the end of the season, and it's going to be a very tough ride. It's only going to get worse before, for me, it will get better.
Okay. What about you, my bro? Talk to me. What's your opinion on this situation? What would you like to see happen?
Yeah, big up, bro. Big up News. Big up Matisse. Big up in the show. Yeah. Personally, I'm Potter out, to be honest. He all started good, but like it got bad, to be honest. But I think the manager that should suit the team right now should be, I think, Poch. Poch has a good shout for me. As the last guy mentioned, the Celtic manager it's also a big shout for me for the manager position. So yeah, obviously Potter hasn't lived up to expectations for me. I think he could have probably done better from what he's done for Brighton. He's in a sort of downgrade in a sort of sense to me in the Chelsea job.
Yeah, I think for me with Potter is that this was his first time at this level, so it was an opportunity to kind of prove yourself, wasn't it? But when you get a 5-year contract, that doesn't sound like you have to prove yourself. That sounds like as if you are secure. Now, I understand, and I've spoken to other content creators behind the scenes about this before in terms of why he was given that 5-year contract, because he was coming out of a stable job at Brighton where he'd done very well, coming into a club where it's usually hire and fire model, and he wanted some certain assurances that he's going to be given time because his methods and his methodology does take time to implement, and that's fine. But that's where the issue lies, is that Chelsea is a club that, as Younes says, short term if you want the long term. Not you're going to get the long term regardless, because if your short term gets too bad, we end up in situations and conversations like this. And best believe the conversations we're having, it's the same conversations for me that will be had behind the scenes. There's no way that every single member on that Chelsea board is sitting there unanimously saying, not a problem. We're good.
Surely.
We're definitely in no problems here. Everything's fine. And I always said that even when Younes was telling me, he needs to go way earlier, and I was like, nah, I'm going to give him more time. I always that's why I always like to hear other people's opinions and respect it, because even if I know that if he was to lose, say, 3 more games, and I'm not going to still be having that same chest, then there's definitely ample reason to question and doubt him right in that very moment. Because no manager that you truly believe in should ever be 2-3 games away from a sack. If Manchester City were to lose their next 3 games, Pep is not being sacked. Man City fans are not calling for his resignation because they believe in their manager wholeheartedly. And that is what applies across the board with the top managers and the clubs that are doing what they're doing at the moment. But that doesn't apply here because he hasn't got any credit in the bank. He hasn't got any loyalty points. He hasn't got the personality points either. And there's no trophies on the board and there's no wins. So there's not really anything to gravitate to. So people are not really going to, everybody's kind of just really finding out along the way. And we're finding out in the worst way right now that at the moment, it doesn't look like he's up to the task, at least with the context of, yes, it's a difficult job. But like I always say, it's never going to be an easy job. And that's the key here. It might be a difficult job right now, but it's never going to be easy. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be more context. There's always going to be preseason, loads of players. We didn't get them sold in time. You didn't get to narrow your options down. There's going to be Lukaku, Big Rom returning. I can't wait. Can't wait for Rom.com to enter the building.
Each time I forget that point, and you always remind me.
Romelu Lukaku. When
he's coming back.
When he arrives, I will be there no matter what.
Focus back.
I mean, listen, I really don't want him to be part of the team going forward next season. But who knows? Potter might decide that he can actually get something out of him. I mean, I'm seeing Nkuku's joining. There's just going to be gusto. There's so many players coming in. I just don't know. It's going to take somebody very ruthless, very cutthroat to handle it. And he's not at the moment, not giving that vibe that he's that person. So, guys, it's been a pleasure to have you on. We are going to wrap up the show. Thank you so much
for
coming on. I know it was a long way. Appreciate you so much. Guys, we are going to wrap up the show. Apologies if you haven't made it on today. But you would have joined after I said that the lines needed to close because, of course, we need to wrap up. We're coming up to 2 hours. But hopefully next time, if you didn't get on, then, if you got notifications on whenever there's a cool show, it's very rare that it happens because usually we're not actually in crisis or we're not celebrating a trophy. We're usually just normality, right? We're just going through the weeks. But the next time, if you've got the notifications on, I'll try and give you a lot more advance. Because I only thought of this idea about an hour before the live show. And I was like, you know what a great opportunity to get other people on. And I should have gave you way more notice. So I apologize. Younes, bro. I mean, after everything we've heard today, not a singular person has said he should stay. I gave the option. The option was there. Not a single person. Not a single person. I mean, how do you feel after listening to all that? It's just mad, isn't it?
It's insane. But it confirms everything that we say, man. It confirms exactly that we're not crazy. And we have been logical throughout our entire assessment of everything, and everyone's opinions were fantastic, fair play, even in terms of all the different shouts and whatnot and who they would pursue further with. But one thing's for sure, everyone has seen the light at this point about Graham Potter and his untenable position at the club, except for the people that have the power to do something about it. So it's got to be done, surely, as you said, like, surely they're sitting amongst themselves and not all of them are looking at this going, oh, it's fine. Like, surely not.
No,
surely not. But each time I've said surely this season, I've been proven wrong. So
I will do one thing and not make any assumptions on what they're doing because I don't know them like that. With Roman, I know the helicopter would have landed at Cobham by now and this man would have been given his P45 because we know Roman inside out. We know how Roman's mind works. In fact, you actually knew the result that Roman would sack someone. It was actually so, like, you just felt it. As soon as that result happened, for me, in this moment, it was Southampton. But under Roman, it probably would have been way before. Actually, he probably would never have hired him in the first place, right? And he would,
exactly.
But it was definitely the Southampton game. That was a Roman Reigns moment. That was a Roman result. That was like, yo, you're finished.
It's
Southampton
true.
at home, that's the result that would have 100% nailed in the coffin. With this ownership, we don't know. We don't know them like that. I have no idea what it will take. What is the threshold? What is the breaking point? We're going to find out. Younes, it's been a pleasure, bro. Let them know where to find you. I know you got a new video just come out. I'm about to drop one myself as well, man. There's so much content dropping today. Jesus.
Tons, isn't it? Bloody hell, it's mental, man. No, thanks for having me. This was fun. This was a good episode, man. And very shout out to everyone that managed to get on. Unfortunate for everyone that couldn't, but we see you. Don't worry. And in terms of the content that's coming out, it has come out. 2 have dropped. So I've given my general thoughts and opinions on the news. That's happened today. And there's also been a video with George, so GBFC, George Benson.
Yeah.
And also me appearing on his channel as well. So we've spoken just about, there's a tier list of manager options on his channel. And then the top 3 of that, the 5 options that we've had, we've come to a decision on the top 3 that we would go with to become the next Chelsea manager. So that's on my channel and that's been uploaded already. So you can catch that.
There you go. Guys, for me, there will be another video dropping. We've already put London Club's Carnage out earlier today at 11. That's up there for you to watch. More reaction to the weekend. There's a video dropping this evening. That will be more on Thiago Silva, on Kante, on Cover, who's been linked with Man City, and on Potter as well. And what I would want Christopher Vivell to be doing in this current moment. And then I'm going to do a manager video specifically after I've done my research on all these managers, and I'm going to go through all of them, and we're going to go through pros and cons, their history, and then I'm going to select a manager personally that I would like if the situation was to materialize into a sacking, because I feel like you kind of need to be prepared for that moment. I wasn't prepared for Tuchel because in 24 hours Potter was hired and no one got to say anything or have any opinion. It was kind of like a dictatorship, just bang. Hey, that's your manager.
True. Facts. We didn't have time to breathe.
Yeah, we didn't have time to breathe, man. People didn't. I think you was away, weren't you? Was you not away when that was going on? Yeah,
I was away.
You was trying to have a break.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh crap, Tuchel sacked. Oh man. And then I finished that. What? Potter's hired.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Whoa. That was as quick as the first goal that went in against Tottenham. Jesus.
No lie. I was gonna do a video about Tuchel sacking, like an extended video of like, the fallout.
Yeah, really getting into it. No time for that.
Literally, then notification, Graham Potter. What?
Scrap.
All right.
Can you imagine at the end of that editing process after doing that video and then Potter, bro, I would be fuming. I'd be saying,
fuming.
Delay that shit. Delay that. I got something to cook. I'm cooking here. Something to release. Adobe Premiere. Something to put out. I'll be fuming. But yeah, so there's 2 videos on the way, and then tomorrow there's a watch along as well. Double watch along for the Arsenal game and the Liverpool game as well. 2 Premier League matches kicking off tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing both of those matches, double watch along. I'm not doing the FA Cup Man United game because it's too early to talk about FA Cup with that lot. And I personally, after watching them win the Carabao Cup, I don't want to be anywhere near them right now. So yeah, until next time, obviously when the show comes back, normal cast and crew will be resumed. Jog Bubba and Miz will be on. We'll be talking to Bubba about his Simeone syndrome. I will be looking forward to such conversations. Until then, big up your damn selves. Back to RIP settings with the black screen.
Oh yeah, and quick one. Tag me in for later.
There you go.
All right, nice one.
Big
6 extra.
If you don't already know, Younes is gonna have to create hell. I already did it yesterday. Good luck to you, my friend.
Oh no, I can.
Can you do it?
Just to give you guys a little bit of a preview.
Oh,
very quick.
Yeah, let me end on this note.
Right.
Can you do it? Hold on. Let's see. I know I can do it. Let me turn these lights. Hell! Welcome to hell!
Welcome to hell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes! Why didn't we do the whole show like this?
We should have, innit?
Well, you know what? We'll do it like this next week. If we lose to Leeds, we'll have more than enough. Yeah, we're doing the whole show like this. Drug Bubba and Miz, you better make sure you have your red lights ready, because
get your red lights ready.
If we lose to Leeds, or even draw, if we draw to Leeds, if we do not beat Leeds, this will be all you can eat Chelsea. It will be fire.
We will do it like this.
Brimstone, okay?
Kane settings.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I have to tombstone myself.
This looks brilliant, honestly. We really fumbled the bag, man. Guys, we took our.
We really did.
Done this. All right, big up your damn selves. Bro, is this place on fire? Shit, it looks mad.
It feels like it, man.
Bro, I really need to stop playing games, bro. I'm telling you. In a bit, people. Peace.